is that he's making us aware of something that we already know to be true. And that's you and I are walking contradictions. Inside of us are good and evil, the potential for life and for death. So James is saying, hey, what are you going to do about that? And I think you and I can approach it in two ways. The first one would be like this. We must be willing to admit the contradictions inside of us and still let God love us in that partial state. And once we know that God lives inside our contradictions and God's love is not dependent on our perfection, then other people's contradictions don't scandalize us or surprise us anymore. I am a mass of contradictions, and yet I am also a saint. I am a very good person, and I am also a sinful person. I get it, and yet I oppose it too. Are both of these true? Yes, both are always true and forever true. For some wonderful reason, that is what God loves. So what James is saying to us, that bound up inside each and every one of us is both saint and sinner. And even though God's love remains unconditional throughout whatever happens or whatever we do, he still holds us accountable. We are responsible for the power that he gives us. The goal isn't for you and me to be flawless, to be perfect, but the goal is to consistently look after one another. Because Jesus knows, and James affirms, that when we curse other people, when we allow that poisonous smoke to sit on everything, what we're actually doing is that we are damning the ones that God loves, damning the ones who are made in God's image, human beings, us, you and me. And you remember the point, right? Because the point isn't to be perfect. The point isn't to be flawless. But the point is to consistently look after one another. And that is the truth that we tell about God and about what he is doing. And anything less than that is lighting a fire to what God loves most. Do you recognize the contradiction that's inside of you? That you're both saint and sinner, that you have the power for life, the power for death, that God loves you unconditionally. He's crazy about you, but he also holds you and me accountable and responsible for what we do with our mouths, with our bodies, with our actions. So the question James asks is this: what are you doing with that responsibility? What are you doing with the power that you have? Are you lighting fires? He asks. You think about it right now. Think about that place, that spot in your life that is this dry desert and brush and the sun beats out on it and there's not a lot living there. Think about what a spark would do, a spark that would come out of your mouth, a spark that would come from your actions. Are you in a situation right now that could engulf itself in flames based on what you say, about what you do, about how you handle those people who are involved in that situation? Are you ready for the dark, smoky cloud that would come from that fire to spread everywhere and hang over your house and seep into your home? James is asking you and I, are you going to light that kind of fire? Or are you going to do your very best to keep that fire from starting? And remember what Jesus said. It's not that what goes in you that defiles you, that makes you dirty. It's actually what comes out of you. So guard your heart. Guard it, protect it. And James spins off that very idea and then says, if you allow bitterness and envy and self-ambition and anger and pain and hurt to squat in your heart, eventually that'll flow downstream to your mouth and it'll come out in your words and it'll come out in your actions. So the tough question that James asks us right here is this: what are you harboring in your heart right now? What are you allowing to live inside of you? What's renting a room in your heart? What's squatting? What's taking up residence? What's sinking roots down deep? Is it anger? Is it bitterness? Is it hurt? Is it self-ambition? James says, where do you expect those things to go? Because the longer they fester here, the hotter it gets. It's got to come out some way. And when it comes out, it hits a spark. And once that spark hits a dry, dusty place, everything blows up. Will trouble come your way? Yes. Will you get hurt? Yes. Is life hard? Yes. Will people fail you? Yes. Will you fail yourself? Yes. But are you also a mixed bag, full of contradictions, saint and sinner at the same time, with the power to both heal and divide people? Yes. So then, James says to you and I this morning, what are you going to do with that power? What sort of atmosphere will you create? You going to heal it, or are you going to set the whole thing ablaze?